Hi everyone, and welcome to Scrap Saturdays. I hope you're all doing well. Today is Sunday and I'm just sneaking in between doing some laundry, and this video is going to be a little bit of obviously a process video, but a little bit also of some updates and stuff like that. So yesterday night, I don't know if you saw on my feed that I did a live YouTube stream, which was so much fun. It was nerve-wracking, but it was a lot of fun. And I really enjoyed it, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go back and do that again. And so I just took some time to cut up some more of my 12x12s down to 8.5x11, and that's kind of where I left off last night, where I didn't have any more cut up on this with this kit. And some of these are Scraptastic exclusive paper, but I think it was this wood grain that was really calling my name for this layout. I kind of think I want to do a Wilna type layout with this one. I know that sounds sort of weird, but I believe I've been inspired by what I see her do. So I think that's what I want to do. And I'm going to do my take on it, of course. I'm not going to do exactly what she does. And I was really liking this piece of paper as well yesterday. Of course, you know how that is. Paper speaks to me. So this video is going to be a little bit of an emotional one for me. It's probably the hardest thing I have to talk about so far in my life on YouTube. And the photo that I'm choosing to scrapbook today is a photo of my son and myself, and I'm gonna try and bring it as close as I can. And I'm sorry if you can hear anybody in the background, but the boys are playing, and it's not very good quality photo, especially when you print it off this small. There is a lot of shadow, just like you see, but we are looking at the most amazing ocean view that we have, and we're just sitting there. And while we were away on vacation, my parents also went away on vacation to their own island where they're from. So we were not in the same place, but we were in Portugal at the same time. And my mom, she suffered with depression for many years, and she has a long life story, one that maybe I'll get into in another time or another video, but her depression was quite severe, and she went missing while we were away on vacation. She went for a walk one day and never came back. And my dad was there with her, and everyone panicked and tried to look for her, but she didn't take anything with her. And eventually we started to find notes here and where she was that explained that maybe she decided that she no longer wanted to be here on Earth with us. So it was a very traumatic, difficult time to be so far away and have my mom feel that, I guess, at that moment, and I say it with so much uncertainty because we have not found her. So she is in a beautiful place where there is a lot of ocean surrounding her. So if we speculate to say that she did put herself into the sea, then we wouldn't find trace of her body for many years to come. And my mom did not know how to swim, so this is where we're kind of at as a family. We're all sort of holding our breath together and just waiting. It's a very difficult time. And at first, when I was away on vacation, I thought to myself, you know, why would something like this happen to me? And I say to me in a very humble way to my poor mom, and my siblings and my dad and everybody who knows her. You know, why would this happen while we're away, you know, on vacation? Why would I be so, you know, far away? But ironically, she was the closest she'd ever be, I guess, unless she somehow miraculously appears, but I doubt that. And I think that everything happens in life for a reason. You know, I was away somewhere where I could find solitude and peace, because if I was here and I was working, or you know, I was doing other stuff, I would just be probably bedridden, that's for sure, with worry and sadness, not knowing, you know, what was happening. And not that we do know, that's the sad part of the story. We don't know what happened to my mom. We don't have any answers. And well, we do have her written word. It's just, I guess, denial. I'm not sure. There's so much to it. There's so much to what I'm saying to you that it's so difficult to even talk about. And I'm sorry to be that this video is going to be a little bit sad, like I'm telling you. It's going to be an emotional one for everyone. And I think depression, you know, touches everybody's lives. And being very religious, it's also very bittersweet for us, because my mom was such a beautiful religious human being that we know that in our religion it's not accepted to take your own life. But again, I sincerely don't know if that's what she did, but the notes that she left behind do suggest that that's what she did. So yeah, I used to sneak down here quite a bit. I had 10 days left of my vacation, or our vacation, with my family. And ironically, at this point, I had not told my son Augustino about anything about my mom, because I didn't want him to overthink it. I wasn't even in the right mindset to explain anything to him the way I wanted him to, you know, really have my full focus and not have my, you know, grieving speak to him, but a more clear mind surrounding, you know, all of his precious questions that he would have for me, or whatever it was that he wanted to ask me. I really wanted it to be with a sound mind that I could answer him, and not in, you know, a different way. And so at this point, while I'm sitting here with him and we're waiting for the waves, and there's another photo for another layout, but I'll just quickly show you. It was so spectacular that the waves were at least 10 to 15 feet high, and we were just sitting there, and I was just enjoying it, because I really needed to tell myself that my favorite quote is that there's two things we cannot change, and that's yesterday and tomorrow. And although we want to tell ourselves that, you know, there's something you could do, there's something more you could have done, and, you know, everybody's going to have their opinion about how life plays out and what it is that we can do, but sometimes, unfortunately, I believe that destiny just carries us to something and brings us somewhere where it humbles you and it reminds you that you really have to take a deep, deep, deep breath and find the strength to look at what you have left around you and pick up the memories from your precious loved ones that we lose and fight on, breathe on, move on in some way. And there were days I would come down here and I would really, really let go in a very crazy way and just cry my heart out. And then there were days where I would come down and I would find peace and tranquility with the ocean and find, you know, the strength to just sort of put on a brave face through probably something that was absolutely unexplained. But I am blessed that I did have the mom that I did, and I'm very blessed to have the family that I have, and I do appreciate them so much. And so yeah, it's a bittersweet vacation for me. And I was so blessed with my husband's family. They are very supportive, very loving, and they allowed me to grieve in the way that I needed to. And yeah, it's one of those moments where there's no words. There's nothing really much that we can say. Except for we have to learn from these lessons that God places in front of us. Whether it's to extend a kind hand to someone who is suffering with depression close to you, or to be more humble and understand your own life and appreciate your mom and appreciate the time that we do have with each other and just make the best of it. And that's the lesson that I'm taking. My mom was a very sweet, kind woman. She was not judgmental. She was very humble to everyone around her. And that's part of the sadness of losing someone like that, is because they are so angelic on earth. And it somewhat hits you, and you know, the first words that people say is, oh, it's very tragic, it's very sad, they don't deserve it. And there's just nothing that you can do to change that. But I do believe that we can learn from it. And I always say that, you know, yoga is so amazing for me, and the benefits that I've seen physically are truly, truly amazing. But when I hit this point 2 months ago on vacation, I can honestly say that a lot of what I have learned in this past year through practicing yoga has really, really come in handy to help me breathe through the grief. And a lot of times when I'm at yoga is when I grieve properly and I let go and I get to the end. And my yoga teachers are amazing, and they say the most amazing things at the most appropriate times. And I usually find myself in my pigeon pose crying, just letting go and finding that healing through, you know, holding a pose that I'm holding on to so much sadness and so much grief that I don't even know how I'm going to find the strength to get out of bed. So I also work in a job in a field where the funny part is, not that it's funny, that's just a figure of speech, but A lot of people suffer from depression, and they come to my counter. And I'm going to tell you that I have hugged a lot of people in these past few weeks that have no idea why I'm coming out from my little circle behind the counter to give them an extra hug. And it is because I'm hugging them for my mom. I'm hugging them so that I can let them know that they're not alone. That I understand that through all of it, they're feeling this immense anxiety and pressure in their chest, in their mind, in their soul that they can't explain to people. It's, I was trying to tell my family members, it's not like a broken arm. You can't see it. You can only feel it, and it takes a lot of courage to talk about it. So, yeah, I'm sorry. This one's a sad one. I don't know why my throat's a little bit hoarse today, but it is. But this one's a little bit of a sad video. But it's still inspirational, I hope. I hope that it's worth something. I contemplated on whether or not I should talk about it. I contemplated on, whether or not it was something that I should bring up, light to when I really don't have all the answers, and I sincerely don't know. There's so many family members out there. I don't really think many of my relatives watch my YouTube channel. There are some relatives that I haven't even reached out to because I don't know. Most of them want these, answers that I can't give them. They're the same answers that we as siblings want ourselves. So I pray to God, and I pray that, I know, like I said, it is a sin, and we are aware that in our religion, it's not something that we accept, or that's something that is tolerated. But it tests everything, right? It tests your faith, and I know that I believe that my mom is a child of God, just as we all are, and I think that He is humble and He is gracious, and that He loves her just as much as He loves all of us, and that He would grant her the mercy that she deserves to be with Him in her great time of need. And ironically, one of the things that she journaled in the most was her Bible, and it was this beautiful leather-bound Portuguese Bible that she had. And I found that she did a lot of soul searching and a lot of journaling through it, and she never, I have to cut this down, she never questioned him. She was just very humble to him and very apologetic. So I hope he heard her. I think he did. So yeah, that's where we're at, and that's where I'm at. And I put on a brave face. But there are days that it's very easy and I move forward, and then there's days where I'm jolted and I'm reminded, like when I want to pick up the phone and call my mom and I can't. And there are times when little funny things happen that she would tell us, and things that would occur, and I kind of mention it with my kids to keep her memory alive. And my brother, he stopped everything that he was doing here, and he went back home to see my dad and to try and help the searchers and the rescue workers. I shouldn't say rescue because it's really not rescuing, but the people who look for missing people, until you can prove that they're not missing anymore. And he brought me back this beautiful hat that my mom had purchased a few days before her passing, and I have it, and I'm gonna keep it for a little while. So yeah, this is why I think I'm doing a little bit of Wilna. I think I wanted to add a lot of flowers. My mom loved flowers. And these leaves came in the kit. These are like little vellum leaves. And they probably are supposed to be used for fall or autumn or whatever it is. But like I always say, there's no right or wrong. So we're going to use these leaves to accentuate the softness of what I want for this layout. And I like the touches of blue that it's bringing out. And I've got one more here. I don't think I'm going to use, there's some maple leaves as well that came in this one, but I'm not going to use the maple leaves. I think I'm just going to use these, I would call them oak leaves, right? And I know Wilna does a more like linear type foliage, right? She does more of that linear stuff, but I really like the lift that it gives. I think it looks really good. And I've got this flare badge that I pulled out. I'm gonna put a foam square on it. It's got to be these baby ones because that's all I'm down to now. I don't have any big ones. I've got to go get some more. And so yeah, this is my life. I find scrapbooking is going to be therapeutic for me as well. And yoga is very therapeutic. And I know, as so many of you have probably lost children, siblings, parents, best friends, husband. I have a woman I work with, and her husband passed when her 2 children were really small, and she had to find the courage to be the most amazing single mom she had to be for her kids. And her daughter is now going to have her first child. And they're, you know, I guess it's been 30 years since her husband's passed, or maybe even 20 years. And it's funny that there's so many milestones that you still go through where you're still grieving the loss of that person, not for the loss of them in that moment because you've moved on in your life, but because they're missing out on something that, you know, you might have thought that together you were going to cross those bridges, right? And that's like everybody, and that's, I guess, what I feel too. I mean, there's the sadness of thinking there's going to be things where, you know, I would have totally thought my mom was going to be there and witness, and you take that for granted, right? You think that there's some sort of forever, and there isn't. There's just right now. And so I'm going to try my best to do the right now thing as much as I can, which I think I do a good job. I think that I can hold on to that and really capture what that means. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else I want to do. And I haven't used enamel dots in a little while, and I do love them. They're great. They are really fun, but the colors weren't working well for what I wanted to do. And I really like the way this layout turned out. So I know I mentioned it yesterday on my live stream, but I do have a hashtag Scrap Saturdays. So that's plural, Scrap Saturdays. I don't even know why I'm sticking this down here. I don't want that there. Where you can see my layouts up close, and I think Instagram's changed their style now, right? You can actually zoom into things, I believe, right? I'm not gonna put any more, that's perfect. So yeah, if you hashtag, or if you look into that hashtag, then you can find my layouts, and you can look at them up close, because sometimes I know in the video there's not a lot that I can do. And these are the tags that I showed yesterday too, that I made with my Felicity Jane stamps, because they're so tiny and they're so cute. I don't know if I like them. Telling you this stamp gets around the details of this moment. So yeah, that was it, and that was that. I don't really know if I want this here. Kind of like it without it. No, I like it with it. Who am I kidding? I need to stick a tag there. We know it. Alright, so I had to get a lot of courage to put up this video and to talk about something that's very personal in my heart. I know it puts a little bit of a damper on how we talk and how this video and the mellowness of it, but I appreciate all of you so much. And this way, if feelings and emotions come up while I'm still doing my videos, at least I can express them freely now. And I don't have to hold back. And at least you'll know what it is that I'm talking about, or you'll know where my heart is at that moment. And I think that turned out awesome. So this is my Wilna inspired version of a Monica type scrapbooking layout. I just need to find a little bit of foam dots to create a little bit of lift, but I think it's beautiful. And in respect to your moments and, you know, the people that you think of, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always people around us, including you guys, that allow us to grieve properly. And I am going to bring in this layout that I created of me and my mom. And yeah, she was awesome, and I loved her dearly. And I actually, because she never keeps her eyes open when we usually take pictures, and I've been hashtagging Mãe Querida, which means sweetest mom in Portuguese. It's funny and it's ironic that I use that, because I made this layout probably in the springtime, and she always has her eyes closed. And then when I did this side, I actually journaled about it, because it was so difficult. She was just that kind of person that, you know, closes her eyes when you snap a moment or snap a picture with her. But my end to this video, so that I don't completely break down, is that this is why we scrapbook, correct? This is why it's so important to include yourself in the pictures with your loved ones, because we don't know what's going to happen later on, you know, let alone tomorrow. And every moment counts. And in her memory, I'm going to make sure that nobody forgets how precious she was. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I'll see you soon. Take care.